Well, hello, and welcome everyone to episode 5 of our Bg5 Live. And today is May 7th, 2019. And today we're going to be talking about influence and personal law. But before I get started, I want to do a huge shout out and hello and welcome to our team. So if they want to say hello, let's start with Lavina.
Hello everyone, welcome, glad to be here.
Welcome, welcome. And Natalie.
Yeah, glad to be here. Just started the certification course, so I'm still buzzing.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Well, welcome. And Chris.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Glad to be here again. Yeah.
All right. Well, today, again, what we're going to be taking a look at is influence and personal law. So if you want to go to the next screen, Lavina. So what we're going to start with is the quality for today. And actually, interesting enough, it moves into the quality 5 right after our presentation, but it's still a quality 4 day today. And so the first thing that we want to discuss is influence. And, you know, it was very interesting when I was searching for images for influence. I found tons and tons of images of influencer marketing. So you can see that it is, it's a big buzzword in the marketing world as well. So I want to talk a little bit about what does influence really mean. And so if you want to go to the next, so what is influence? So the definition of influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, the development, or the behavior of someone or something. So when we take a look at influencing is a very personally connected thing. You know, you can see here, if we take a look at the influencer marketing, we can see that we have followers. You know, of course, there's traffic and content and brand and promotion and social media, global and trust. But it really is sort of this, you know, those people that are close to you, those people that are following you, that connect to you on a personal level. You want to go to the next bullet, Lavina. So it's connecting with and having influence over those that are closest to you. So your allies, your family, your friends, again, those that are close to you. So you're not necessarily designed to work with strangers. What's very interesting with this influential marketer and doing social media, if you take a look at the people that really influence others on social media, a lot of them, what they do is they really build that connection with people. So it's not just about marketing in an impersonal way. They create this experience, you know, whether it be through video or whatever it happens to be, that you really connect with them, that you really know them. So in a sense, they're not a stranger. So where you really have influence, and this is if you have the 4th quality within your design, where you really have influence are with those that are closest to you. Again, your allies, your friends, your family, those that are within your networks. Again, you're not designed to work with strangers, but you're naturally friendly and you're naturally social. And if you want to go to the last one, and so you can also experience people fatigue. So this is something you have to be aware of if you have the 4th quality within your design, and there is a need to spend time alone. So I originally put, I think, that you like to spend time alone, but it really is more of a need. So Lavina, if you want to speak a little bit to influence in the 4th line quality that we have today.
Yeah, well, today is really that energy of being able to be of influence to another. And in that, there needs to be a certain level of trust. So trust is a really important process for somebody who is a 4 quality in their public role, where there's this deeper, the trust factor between the two, there's more of an influence, and the trust factor is deepened the more familiar you get with that person. So it's very, very strong in this person. And these 4 quality days, there you might find yourself really want to having interactions with people, and then you got to get burnt out and you're like, okay, now I need some alone time, because socializing takes a lot of energy and effort. You know, and there's a lot of need for alertness and respondability and, you know, tuning into people's facial expressions or their moods or whatever to be able to have a real deep influence with people. So this is something that for me, I don't have a lot of experience with. I only have one of these in my design. So it really amazes me at how influential these 4 quality people are. They're incredible. Friendly, knows everybody, has a really strong bond with their relationships. Like they usually won't let go of a relationship. They want to maintain the friendship. That's my thoughts on a 4 quality day.
Yeah, thank you, Lavina.
Mm-hmm.
And how about you, Chris? Is there anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because I do a lot of work with marketing and looking and watching people and how they market themselves. And I'm thinking about a person that I know who has a 4/6 public role, and she is incredibly influential in on social media, especially on Facebook. And what's interesting is that this person she's really good at weaving a story. I mean, she's really incredible at making that connection with people, but there's not much behind it. So it's really fascinating to me that that there can be people out there who can create that deep connection and have people so oh God, what do I want to say? Like they'll follow this person anywhere, but there's nothing really solid there. There's nothing actually that they're really offering beyond being able to create that strong connection, if that makes sense. So there's not a lot of depth and content in what she's offering. She's just really good at creating that connection. And so it's interesting to watch that, influence, right? Influence with integrity is something that I find, like, I love that. Influence without integrity, manipulative, right? So I think it's really important to understand that just because somebody can really create that deep connection with people does not necessarily mean that it's a contribution at I don't know, like that it can lack integrity. Let me just put it that way. I'm trying to be very vague because we see it a lot. You know, people are very adept at creating that influence and that connection, but there's not much behind what they're doing. So.
Yeah, exactly. But there's always a balance as well. Like you said, there are those that are in integrity and there's those that are not in integrity. So it's really being able to determine, which side they're on. So everything operates in a duality. So, that's
exactly.
Realize there's those both sides of the coin.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Natalie?
You're muted.
Oh, I'm muted. Hello. Yeah, so a lot has been said, and I find it fascinating because I'm a fifth line, and I'm specifically made best with strangers, and the difference is like immense for me. I'm not this like having these networks and just it for me it cost me a lot of energy to be able to have this close connection, to maintain the connections all the time, right? What for a quality 4 person really is natural. They just do it. They're all over internet or all over Facebook or all over whatever. And for me, it's like an effort. So that's also something you really can notice in the differences between the qualities. Yeah.
Yeah,
I relate to that. That's for sure. As a 5/1 also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these people, they really need, it seems, that close connection in person where they can really be, in that field of energy, that interaction, as it deepens their bonds tremendously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Christina, there's oftentimes I have worked with several individuals, particularly they have the second and the fourth quality, so they're 2-4, so that's their public role, and their public role being the natural and the influencer, and many of them have spent time and energy and effort trying to attract people that are strangers. And I had one client who literally paid thousands of dollars to a marketing consultant and ended up with 0 new clients. And after I worked with her, she realized that she had she did some holistic healing, and she had a couple physicians, a couple doctors in her network, which she ended up reconnecting with. And it was really through those 2 doctors that see my kitty.
Yeah.
it was really through those 2 doctors that ended up providing her with most of her clientele. And so it was being properly introduced through her networks. That connection gave her more business than any of the impersonal marketing ever did.
Yeah. Such a good point.
You know,
It
so
really is who you know with the 2-4, but also this 4. There's this energy for connection. So putting there on a day like this, it's a great day to schmooze, to socialize, if it's right for you, if it's correct and aligned, because you can take advantage of that.
Exactly. You know, so when we're talking about, you know, having the 4th quality, we're primarily talking about the public role, but it can show up in other areas of your design as well, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. Let's actually go to the trait as well for today. So, so here we're in the trait 2. So that's the theme. So trait 2 is the driver. And trait 2 and quality 4 is about secretiveness. Now, I actually have this as part of my design, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about how this relates. So we're taking a look at, when we're taking a look at the qualities, the traits, and then the life aspect that it happens to be in, this is sort of the formula of being able to put things together so you can really understand your design a bit deeper. So with the trait 2 theme, when we're talking about the quality 4, the driver, the secretness, this is more than modesty. This is the ability to preserve harmony through discretion. I'm going to go ahead and go through all of the bullets, and then we can talk more about it. So the higher goal transcends personal acclaim.
Kitty.
Your cat wants to influence.
Yes. my
Friendly.
influencing thing. rubbing her face against my camera here. So it's the team player. You know, it's acknowledged as the leader, but never the captain. This is where higher knowing does not have to be expressed to be recognized. Oops, a little out of order. Again, remember, there's always a binary. There's always the sort of negative side of it as well. So this is the inability to keep silent when the opportunity arises for expression. And so there's the same loose lips, sink ships, hard to say. So what does that mean? So for example, if a good friend doesn't blab, right? You're able to keep secrets. You know, otherwise the relationship sinks. So that's what that means. So I want to talk a little bit about this, and then I'm going to apply it specifically because this is one of the traits that I do have in my design. Whoops, go ahead and go back.
You want to go to this one or your?
Yeah. We'll stay here for just a second, and then we'll take a look at where I have it specifically. But I just wanted to talk a little bit more about what the trait 2 is all about, and sort of the secretness as well. You can see what the secretness is in a sense not having it. You know, this is a team player, acknowledged as the leader, but never the captain. You know, so for example, in my design, I'm not the captain, if you will. Linda is the captain. but still, within the BG5 Institute, acknowledged as a leader. And if we take a look at the trait 2, it is the driver. It is, in a sense, the sense of direction. And it's one of the huge traits within BG5 because this is really about the vision of a business. This is where the vision comes from, the direction in which the business is going. And this is true both for large organizations as well as smaller organizations as well. So again, within this trait 2 is the vision. And so you can see that it is the team player and its higher goals transcending personal acclaim. So because it is part of what's known as the PENTA, the small group skills of vision, yes, it is an individual trait, but it goes beyond that individual trait.
Just like that, beyond.
Yes, goes beyond that individual trait. And that individualness to really, in a sense, be a part of the team. And again, this is a major trait in both small businesses as well as large businesses as well. Mm-hmm. So before I talk about it on a personal level, I wanted to check in and see Chris or Lavina or Natalie if there's anything that you would like to add here.
Can I share a personal experience of what happened to me today?
Yes, please.
It's so funny. Normally, what happens in a class with my students is that we'll come in and we'll talk about what's going on for the day, and then we'll check in with everybody and see how they're doing. And what I noticed was we checked in and we're all friendly and we're just talking to each other. We totally spaced out on going into what's going on for today. And then later on, when I started teaching into the slide presentation, I realized I was blabbing. Like I was really talking, this is its fourth quality. It has this ability to externalize, to, get it out there. And so I was just like going into all of this personal stuff. And then I looked at the I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Looking at that and then seeing all of the activations that we have up to communication and action, going, wow, where did that come from? I don't have this normally in my design. I had the other side. So it was just like, whoop, oops, there's the loose lip sync shifts, just like inability to keep silent when the opportunity arises for expression. It's just when you really feel this in your body, when we go through these qualities, this is where you really learn what it's like to be influenced from something outside of you. Because it's like, I know that's not me to do that, Ooh, yeah, it was it just kind of slap in the face kind of thing. Because then we could go and look and, oh, look, there it is, right there. That was my experience. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Fun.
That's
Thanks
great.
for letting me share.
How about you, Chris or Natalie?
Well, I'll share it from a personal experience also of in my family Penta, nobody has the 2. And so as a family, we often lack vision for what we want to do and how we want to live. So we can come together and we'll talk and it's like, okay, what are we going to do? And we'll have a couple ideas, but there's nothing that really ever, it's like the big picture is always elusive, right? And so then how do I administrate that, or how do I share that with others based in the other parts of my design? I just think it's really interesting that that over and over and over again, that it comes up like, oh, but we don't know what the big picture is. We don't know what the plan is. We don't know so we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants. And so just having that awareness of that, if you are in a group and nobody has the 2 and you're wondering what are we supposed to be doing here? Where are we going? That can be why. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good point, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Take some decisions today where to go.
Right.
Yeah. Anything you want to add, Natalie?
No, not for now. This is wonderful sharing. I love the story of Lavina.
Yeah, it's interesting. Chris was talking about not having the 2 in her family, the very first business that I worked with, actually for my Bg5 certification way back when, was that's actually the trait that was missing. So what was interesting, as I talked to each of the employees and worked with each of the employees, one of the things I asked them is, what is your biggest struggle, or what is, what do you feel is missing? And every single one of them said, I feel like we don't have a solid direction. I feel like, we're not all on the same page and going in the same direction. And that's what the quality, the trait 2 quality actually brings, is this sense of direction. That's what it means by the driver. The driver, if you take a look at the driver is in the driver's seat. The driver is what, steers the car in the direction that it's going. And so the driver is, being the driver of your own life, or the driver of the business, or, et cetera. So you can see how important this trait is, especially in a smaller group, or in a larger group, or within a business.
Can I share one more thing?
Yes, please.
In relationship to what Chris was saying, somebody invited me to hang out with them for the weekend with my daughter. And together, the three of us didn't have this too. And we could not make a decision on what we were going to do. We were just like randomly going around the place where we were staying and like, okay, let's do that. Well, we're going to do this, or what are we going to do? We just kept talking and not really actually doing anything. There was never any like action, like we couldn't go anywhere. It was so funny. But just to have that experience in person, it makes all the difference to really understand what it's like when it's lacking, when it's not there. Yeah, besides the fact of having it during a day where you can really see it acting in your life, what is it like when it's not there in the group?
Right.
Because it makes a big difference. Now you get the quality of what it's like.
Yeah, and imagine it again in a business. In a business, if you don't have direction in a business,
pouring money
you're
down
not
the drain.
all on the same page, going in the same direction. There can be a lot of issues and a lot of problems there.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I don't have the 2, obviously, because nobody in my family does, but I have the 14 in a defined sacral. And so for me, that not like, I do struggle with direction often. It's like, okay, I can trust my gut step by step by step, but like, what is that bigger vision? Where am I? And I can lose sight of that. And so again, I share that also as there's nothing to fix, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but I have to work with that in a different way than somebody, say like Karen, who has the 2. Who doesn't have the 14. So it's about understanding those things so that we can work with them, versus, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. I lack vision and I can't do it. It's like, okay, well then what do I need to bring into my life? Who do I need to hire? Who do I need to work with, partner with, bring in, who has those qualities that I don't have, so that I can fulfill that larger vision.
Can I ask you both about your businesses, like the business, Karen, that you mentored, and then Chris, what it was like for you? So is it that you're not sure where to put money too? Like, is this going to be able to receive benefit in my direction of where I'm going? And was that a problem, Karen, with that? Were they just like throwing money and not sure where, like kind of like a sinking ship? You're just trying to throw money at the problem.
That's me.
Really stick. Feel that? Okay.
I'm like, let me just throw more, like if I throw money at it this way, maybe it'll come clear. So I'm better at that now because I understand my design more. But when I first started my business, it was just like, I was literally, if money was spaghetti, I was throwing at every wall that I could.
Hoping it would stick.
I was borrowing other people's spaghetti to throw at a wall, I mean, like, anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was interesting because the business that I worked with also, there is also a misappropriation of funds as well.
Oh, wow.
Where funds were going where they probably shouldn't have gone as well. So it's very closely tied to where the finances go in a business as well, because it really is the 2 that, in a sense, decides where do the finances need to go, in order to get the business off the ground?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good point.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so, and I wanted to go back to one of the things that Chris had said. What's very interesting, if you want to go to my design here, Lavina, what's very interesting is, as Chris was saying, I have the 2, but I don't have the 14. She has the 14, but she doesn't have the 2. Not only that, the 14 also bridges my split as well. So I have 14 envy. So and I think I love what Chris said, is knowing that there is nothing wrong with me. Because this is one of my bridging traits, this is also the area of one of my biggest shadows as well. And that shadow is a bit elusive. I can see it, and it's still happening, and my team can confirm it, because part of with having the 2 but not having the 14 is this feeling like I have to do everything myself. And no matter how hard I try, I can't do everything myself. And often the vision is so big, I have this illusion that I can do it myself, but I really can't. And so, I have a tendency to attract a lot of people who have that trait 14, and the trait 14 is the power skills. It's all about resources. It's all about capacity. And so it's basically with that capacity, with those resources, with those power skills, I can then direct it. So it actually works out really brilliantly in the Bg5 Business Institute, because Linda has the 14, I have the 2, so she provides the resources, and I provide, the vision and the direction forward, which is perfect. Now, what I also wanted to tie in here, because you may not have this trait 2 quality 4, you may not have it as part of your public role. If it's part of your public role, it's part of your life work. Now, it's not part of my life work, but it is part of my personal law. So this is personal law and protection, and that's where I happen to have the 2. So what the personal law is all about, this is a very focused theme of what is correct for me. So if I live by this law, then I can gain great good fortune. But I must have a deep obedience to my own law to experience its benefits. So what does this mean kind of in, kind of connecting all of these pieces together? So this is a place where I'm here to have influence. So I'm here to have influence in the direction of others. I'm here to have influence in the direction of a business. So with the Bg5 Business Institute, I am that part of that influencing factor, if you will, in the direction that the Bg5 Business Institute is going. Now, this part of secretiveness, again, I'm not the captain, right? But still seen as a leader. And this is something that if you do not follow what your personal law is, you end up getting punished. You can see right below we have the judge and the discipline. So each of us has our own personal law. And that personal law really directs us on what is correct for us to follow. It's, again, a type of signpost that, if I just blab everything to everyone, things are not going to work well. Things are going to fall apart. So part of secretiveness is also knowing who to talk to when. So it's all about timing as well. And that ability that, in working with a lot of clients, they share with me some very deep personal things. It's not for me to share those things, right? I also have the 13 of the listener as well. But it's not for me to share those things. It's not for me to blab those things, and often when I'm working with clients as well, there may be things that I can see in their design, but I have a sense that they're not receptive to it yet, that they can't hear it yet. So there's sort of a secretiveness in kind of knowing what to share with them, what they're going to receive, and what we may need to leave for a different time because they may not be ready to hear that, or they may hear it, but they may not take it in, or they may get it confused. So it's a really important aspect, and I fully recognized when I follow this personal law that things work out. And again, it's sort of this modesty too. It's not, for me, the BG5 Business Institute is way beyond me. It's not about me. It is about this bigger picture of really making a huge difference in the world, especially in the world of career and business and making money, where a lot of people struggle. And so if I can provide the direction for others to be successful, part of my life work is this, rags to riches. So not only for myself, but also supporting and giving direction to people so that they can find their own purpose, their own direction, what they are here to do. So again, this is beyond, my own personal acclaim. This is about, for me, empowering others with their own direction. And this is, I think, one of the powers of this too. And this is what I'm here to influence. And it's part of my personal law that if I am here influencing others to be able to take a direction that is powerful, and empowering for them, not to say that I've done it, but really to empower others to be able to do it, that's where I will gain great good fortune. And again, it's not that I, quote unquote, try to do it. When I'm operating correctly, this is what just happens naturally. So it's a signpost for me to know, and this is where I gain also a lot of satisfaction. I'm just starting a round of teacher training for those that are interested in training the Bg5 Foundation Course and the Bg5 Profit Potential workshops, and to be able to have this material and give the direction to others so that they can also train it and get this out in different languages in different parts of the world, and to be able to, again, empower others in their direction, is really part of what I'm all about. Mm-hmm. Anything, Lavina or Natalie or Chris, that you would like to add or say?
When I hear you talk about that, in the recognition of the years that I've known you, it's what we're going on 4th year now, mm-hmm. of observing your process, I can really see in all of the teachings and the way that you're structuring things and bringing it out into the world that it is supporting people and it is helping them start new businesses, and then they can also help transmit the information. And without that vision, that larger vision, I wouldn't have been inspired, when we met, to have that. It was like this amazing recognition, this, yes, this is it, this is the big picture, and this is something that's worth backing up and supporting and seeing and celebrating and all that stuff. And so when you were sharing, I was really moved. I felt emotional because of the recognition that without that too, I wouldn't be where I am today, period. I wouldn't have had the recognitions of how this really works, the bigger picture, because of the depth of the information that you teach, the detail, the level of detail that I've seen you go to in these presentations. It's massive. I've never seen it like anywhere on the planet. And to have that kind of structure and backup of the solid foundation of how all of this works, I wouldn't be able to influence people in the way that I can, because of the depth of the knowledge that you've transmitted. And we have a lot of these activations together. So it's not just that one piece, these two, but it really is such a huge part of what is needed in the business, and it was needed in our industry before you came along. So thank you for doing your work, Karen, for being here and for supporting and seeing all these other certified, consultants that are also doing that work. And it is really satisfying to see the success. Like Natalie. Natalie, would you like to share?
Well, yeah, so here. I'm also coming from your teachings, and if it wasn't for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I really love doing this, and you are a great example, and yeah, what can I say? I'm a mini talent. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, it's amazing. It feels so good to be a part of something bigger than just ourselves, you know, and that now that we're in a correct penta again with Chris, it feels like the movement, the shift is happening and things are flowing and there's more ease about it. And even though there might be difficulties and challenges, it's like we're all here, we're all together, and everybody brings their piece to the table. And oh, that's the other thing that's so awesome about working with this environment is that we're all treated correctly. So there's none of this like, oh my God, I need to, sorry about that, I'll fix that next time. I need to be something other than what I am, because you guys understand, we all understand that we have our limitations and we have our roles. So to be able to just be there and be present and available to whatever comes to the forefront, it's like better together, you know, this ability to be able to move forward because we're standing on solid ground and we have everything that it takes to be able to do what this work is requiring of us.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, Lavina brings up a really good point. You know, it's not what we are really looking at accomplishing, that we're really looking at doing is not only teaching the material, but again, living the material, experiencing the material. We were talking about this in our team meeting the other day, is last year we didn't have a complete penta. And this is something that you learn in the Bg5 certification course and what that's all about. But we, you know, so it's really interesting to experience not having a complete penta and then what it is to have a complete penta. It makes night and day difference. Mm-hmm. And so as Lavina was saying, you know, not having it, you know, where it's like this bumpy road that it's like we can never quite move things forward.
Limping.
You know, since we created the correct penta, you know, the complete penta, so all of the pieces are there, you know, we're practicing, you know, what we're teaching. You know, we're experimenting with it as we go as well. And I agree with you, Lavina. The difference that it's made has been night and day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see a little chat here. Very interesting. Yeah. I'm wondering if, Chris, you have anything that you'd like to share as our newest member?
I think it's really, I love it because it does really show when we look at, and you know, when we first start looking at human design and we see our own individual design, it's like, oh my God, that is me, you know, that sense of recognition of ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. But when you work with a group of people who recognize you, not just for who you are and just, you know, your person, you know, like kind of showing up and having fun, but like energetically. Yeah. And they go, yeah, we get that, you know, for me, I write, you know, I'm doing a lot of writing, and if nothing's coming, but when it comes, it happens, right? And to, you know, to watch myself go, oh, I feel guilty that I'm not doing that, but then have the rest of the group go, it's okay, we get that that's your process. Mm-hmm. And so to be seen it at another level is really quite a thing. And I love that what we're doing is being that, teaching that, showing other people how to do that, being that in the world, producing, teaching, and proliferating this information through people who are sort of being certified and who are going to go teach that or go do the work in businesses. And I mean, I really do think this is going to change the way we do business inherently and the way we live as groups, you know, whether that's a family or a small team or whatever it is. So it's really cool to be a part of that.
Yeah. And, you know, one of my things, even before I even started with human design and Bg5, but connecting with Bg5, it really brought it to the limelight, is, you know, I had that question of what if everybody was doing what they love and loving what they do, and they were respected for who they are. And that's exactly, what we do in the Bg5 Business Institute, and what we're training consultants to do is how to work with businesses and how to work with individuals. So career-wise, as an individual, you're doing what you love, you're loving what you're doing, and you're making a difference, you're making an impact, you're influencing people in a way that is correct. Not only that, but, if you have a boss, that the boss recognizes you, just to be recognized for who you are and not have these expectations that you should do this or that when it's really not a part of your design. So having environments where people are recognized for who they are, invited to be who they are, and supported in being who they are. I mean, imagine workplaces where, you're thriving and you're loving what you do and you're doing what you love. I mean, that can make a difference on the entire planet, because, if you go to work just to make money and you get frustrated and upset, then you come home and you're frustrated and upset with your spouse or your partner. You're upset, with your kids, with your friends, with your loved ones. It just has this sort of downward spiral effect. Whereas if you're going to work and you're loving what you're doing and you're doing what you love, and you walk away, satisfied or feeling successful or at peace or delighted, and you come home and, you share that delight, that success, that peace with your spouse or your partner or your loved one or your kids or your friends or your family. It trickles down in the total opposite way. So again,
and now not just your career is successful or satisfying, but your relationships so much improve.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Yeah.
True.
Awesome.
Wow. Well, thank you for everyone for just taking a look at the time. So again, welcome to everyone for being a part of our Bg5 Live today. I do want to let you know that our classes are starting this week, and tomorrow, if you want to jump on board to our Profit Potential workshops, we have our second workshop, which is Communication and Action. That is starting tomorrow, so if you want to get on board for that. Again, these are workshops that we'll have start to have on a fairly regular basis. So if you miss it, you can go through and do a self-study, and eventually we'll have instructors that will be training it in an ongoing way as well. So keep your eyes out for the Profit Potential workshops. And again, if you want to join us tomorrow, you can do that. And also, on Thursday, we have our Bg5 Foundation Course that's starting on Thursday. So again, you can sign up for the free trial. Natalie just taught the Bg5 Career and Business Certification Course. So even if you weren't able to attend it live, you will have access to the recording for a week. So you can still sign up here, and you'll get access to the recording. And then on Monday, we have the OC16. So again, if you want to attend live, again, our courses start 3 times a year in May and September and January. So if you're listening to this later on, again, you can still check those out. We typically have those free classes available, so you can get a flavor for what all of our classes are all about. All right, if you want to go to our final slide, and we'll wrap everything up for today. So again, thank you all for being with us today, and remember to join us live on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. U.S. Pacific time. So before we sign off, let's do a quick check-in. Any last words from Lavina, Natalie, or Chris, whoever would like to start?
We're all very quiet. I'll just say something.
Go for it, Chris.
Yeah, I always, it's so fun, even though we prepare these and we talk about what we're going to talk about, I always learn something new. And so this is such a fun process. I always walk away going, wow, that just explains so much. So I enjoy it. I hope everybody's watching is enjoying it as well. So.
Yeah, beautiful, Chris. And this is one of the things that I love love, love, love about Bg5 and human design is that there's deeper and deeper and deeper layers of the onion, and you're always learning more. Again, even in putting this together and looking at it a bit more deeper for, deeper for myself personally as well, I learned a lot as well. So no matter how much you've studied it, there's always these deeper layers. I love that you said that, Chris. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
How about you, Natalie?
Yeah, so exactly as Chris said, I learned a lot again also, just you going through your chart and, taking into the life aspects, which is wonderful. So I think it's also very valuable for everybody listening in to see how it, all comes together. So I enjoyed this very much, and I'm happy I could be here again. I do not know if I will be here every single time, because for me it's almost 11 o'clock p.m. So after teaching a certification course, I'll try to join.
Well, we're honored to have you with us, and hope you can attend as much as possible. But we do understand that the time changes and time differences. We literally have students from all over the world. I was looking at my foundation class that I'm going to be starting on Thursday, and every single person is from a different country.
Wow.
Cool.
It is amazing. So we have Australia, we have Indonesia, we have Japan, we have Turkey, we have the UK, we have Canada, we have the United States, we have Lithuania, we have Romania. I know I'm missing some, but
the Netherlands. Is anybody from the Netherlands? Yeah.
Yeah.
They usually are.
Right. Exactly. So again, that's one of the things I love about this too, is how international it is, and really connecting with people from all over the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is so much fun too. And so thank you everyone for joining us. I really appreciate you being here. Remember to join us next time. And until then, learn, live, love. We'll see you next time.
Bye everyone.